So the first part of the homework is to only show rooms we're actually allowed access to in the sidebar. So let's make sure there is at least a room that I'm not allowed access to. Private must be a private room. Let's look at it in the database. Rooms, private, members, just dstruce@gmail.com. That's who I'm actually signed in as. So let's sign in as somebody who can't get to that room. Okay. This version of me should not have access to that private room. So let's make sure it doesn't show it to us. Shall we? So what I'd like to do is, since we're now passing the list of rooms down through the sidebar, if we just pre-filter this list of rooms to exclude any ones that we should not be allowed in, that should do it. So I should be able to do this entire feature by only editing main. I never need to edit those other components. So what I want to do is make a function that filters the list of rooms, leaving only the ones I'm actually allowed to get to. So I'll make a new method called filtered rooms. That'll just return the filtered list of rooms. All right. So how do we determine whether we're allowed to see a room? Who got this done again? Who got this much of the homework done? Right. What do you say? Yeah, you.
I did this
Henry, right?
Yeah, I did the stuff in room list. So like before, when I was mapping over the keys in room list,
Yep.
I just checked like if it was public or if the user was like had permission to current room, and then I would return either the room link or return null.
Okay. So basically what we have to check is the room public? If so, cool. Otherwise, are they in the list of members, right? So cool. Let's do that.
Did you want them in two separate lists? So like a public list and then a private?
Not necessarily. So this .state.rooms, that's actually not an array, right? That's an object. So I can do object.keys. And that will give me an array of the names. So I could do let's see. I basically want it to get rid of some of them. Have we ever talked about the array method filter? We've used find though, right? Is that exciting?
Yes, I looked it up and I thought it was really cool for finding it.
Oh yeah, cool. Okay, you've heard of that one. So tell us all about it. What's it do?
So it returns a filtered array that filters based on whatever function you pass it into .filter. So you do whatever your array is .filter.
Uh-huh.
Put your index in there. The index of the array.
Okay. So like map goes through an array and returns a new array. So does filter. The difference is map always returns the same number of items that were in the original array. Filter will return that number or fewer. So basically you pass it in an inner function that returns a Boolean, and it will only give you back the items for which that evaluates to true. So it's a lot like find. I think we used find yesterday or the day before. Do you remember that? Did we use find? Really? Okay. Huh. I think we had in the morning class. Well, find just returns as soon as it finds anything that makes that thing true. Filter returns all the things that make it true. So I'm going to use filter here. So object.keys, whatever, filter. So there's my array. Here's my filter. So each item in the array is going to be a room name, right? Because object.keys, this.state.rooms, that's not each room, that's each room name. So that's what my arrow function is going to get. So what does this thing need to do? Well, first of all, I think we can fix delete by checking whether that room even exists. So if this.state.rooms square bracket room name, well, if not that, in other words, if it's null, just return false immediately. Don't even keep checking the rest of this. So that was our problem, was that we had a room name in the list that was pointing at null. So we're just going to get rid of those right off the bat. Okay. So then we want to know, we're going to do more with this current room. So let's do this. Const room equals this.state.rooms room name. Save that to a variable. Say if not room. Okay. Then we want to know if it's either public or it includes the current user. Right? If either of those things is true, we're good. So return room.public or if something that isn't in there, like this dot includes current user passing in the room. Like we don't have that method yet, but this is, I'm writing for the method I want, not the method I have. This is how I would like this to read eventually. So returning the result of this Boolean. Is it public? If so, great, return true. If it's not, well, check to see if I'm in the current user, if the current user is in that room. So one of those two things has to be true in order for this to show up in the list, right? Either it's public or it's private, but we're allowed access. So we just need to write the method that figures out whether we're allowed access. So let's do that. Let's write includes current user. And we're checking a room for that. So let's get the list of members for that room. Just in case we have something marked private that has no members property, I'm going to do a const members equals room.members or array, because I'm going to call an array function on it. So I want to be darn sure it's an array. So if it's not, I'm going to make it an empty array. Then I'm going to use find. So if you don't remember find, it works like filter. You pass it a callback, and from the callback you return a Boolean. But the difference is filter returns all of the ones that match. Find returns the first match. So members.find, and I pass it in a callback that tests whether the currently logged in user is in there. So what do these things even look like? What do the room members look like? Are they user objects? Can I just say like find user this.state.user or this.props.user triple equal that user? No. For one thing, object comparison just doesn't work like that. For another thing, the things inside that array are not actually user objects. Let's find this in the list. Main. Here's main. Here's my list of rooms. Here's my private room. Here's my list of members. This doesn't have a UID, a display name, an email address, and a photo URL, does it? It has a label and a value. And value is the UID. So remember, this is not actually an array of user objects. It's an array of options for that select box. That's what we actually saved in here. Options for that dropdown. So each item in that array is a user option, I'll call it. And I want to test whether user option dot value, this thing, triple equals this.props.user.uid. So I should just be able to return that. Just return the result of that find, and that'll tell me whether I'm in that list. User option, not options. Make sense? So am I in there? Let's here's main. Rooms. Room equals $r.state.rooms private. We'll just grab this room here. There it is. So $r dot includes current user room should be false or undefined. That's good enough. Let's sign in as the person who is allowed in and see if that changes. Yeah, that's what I thought. I need to reselect main. Okay, now it returns something, so it's truthy. Cool. But I want to make sure that it goes away after we filter it out. So I'm back as someone who cannot see that room. So includes current user seems to work. So my test here, okay, I'm filtering through the list of all rooms. I'm checking to make sure that the room is there at all. If it's not, I'll return false. Then if either public is true or includes current user is true, then we're good. It should be in the list. So what is this filter going to return? It's going to return a new array of room names, not actual rooms, right? It's not the actual rooms yet. So if I return this, meh. I want to do one more space. If I do this, I'm not returning a list of filtered rooms. I'm returning a list of filtered room names. So I'll make another method called filtered rooms that returns the actual rooms. I'm satisfied with that. So to get the actual filtered rooms themselves, what do I need to do? I need to map over the result of that other thing, right? So I want the same number of items in my array. I just need to do something to each one. So that's a perfect example of map. So this dot filtered, I'm going to return this too, whatever it is. Return this dot filtered room names dot map. And what am I going to do? So each thing in that array is going to be a room name again. And what I want to return is simply this dot state dot rooms square bracket that room name. Get it? So this filters out the list of room names and gets rid of any that I'm not allowed in. So not everything from this dot state dot rooms, just the ones that I'm allowed in. So private should go out of there. Let's give this a try. Main, here we go. $r dot filtered room names. I do not see private in there. So filtered rooms. Private's not there. I'm only getting my public ones. Cool. So it seems like what I could do is when I pass the list of rooms down to sidebar, instead of passing this dot state dot rooms, I'll just pass this dot filtered rooms with the parentheses, right? I'm actually executing it. It's the return value that I want to set to that prop. It's not the function itself, right? So this is the rare case where we actually want the parentheses in there. So the rooms that I pass in as a prop to sidebar will just be the list that has already been filtered. And it's not there anymore. And I should be able to delete rooms too now, I think. Deleted. Yeah. Deleted. So private's not there. I sign out. I sign back in as this guy. And there it is. Sweet. So what do we do? Remove restricted rooms from the sidebar. Very nice. The first part of the homework. Now let's go back to the person who can't get into that room. Now it's not in my list, but I can still go there. Right? So let's fix that.